Alright, here we are with some Tekken 8. I'm gonna make this little disclaimer real quick. This video is not on the newest patch. This video was... I got this footage when... like a day before the patch came out. And the reason why I'm uploading it is because I make some pretty good progress with Jin here in rank. So, I just felt like I wanted to upload that. It's not like it's a pointless video. So yeah, my next Tekken video will be in the new patch. The new patch is out. As I'm recording this, it's been out. So yeah, the next vid will be in the new patch. But I do want to really clarify that because there is a match that happens in this game that would probably be a lot different in the new patch. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, some good old Tekken. Still love this game, still playing it. But I can't lie to you, I really don't know who to consider my best character. So in Tekken 8, my highest ranked character is Victor, right? Victor is a Bushin rank. He's pretty high rank. But the problem is that technically that's not his actual rank. His actual rank is probably a little bit higher than that because I don't play ranked on Victor. And whenever I do play ranked on Victor, I rank up with zero problems. I don't struggle at all. So Bushin is probably too low for me. And I can kind of confirm that because if you don't know, I was playing in tournaments with Victor. Not super, you know, high quality tournaments, just like PlayStation tournaments, but I won a lot of them. And I was winning them against Tekken Kings, Tekken Gods, and I even beat 2 God of Destructions during my tournament runs. Of course, one and done. So yeah, I really don't know what rank my Victor should be, but I just don't play ranked with him, so I don't know. But that being said, I do play a little bit of ranked with Jin, and I'm ranking up pretty quickly with him as well. So I don't know if my Jin or Victor is better. I genuinely don't know. But, here's a Jack, and this is what I was talking about when I said I wanted to clarify that this is not the new patch, because if you don't know, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Jack is glitched in the new patch. I don't think his changes were intentional. If they were intentional, then we are doomed. This game is going to be the worst game ever made in approximately 1 year. Because Jack got a patch, and he's just way better now, and on top of that, he can heal. So that's great. You may have seen the footage around of him getting hit. You know that move where he like absorbs attacks? He got hit, and he got back 25% of his health. So that's great. And Jack already fell into one of those categories for me where it feels like every single person that's playing Jack is playing him simply because he's a knowledge check. I mean, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the gameplay, but if you saw what that guy did to me, all that guy did that entire round, literally all this guy is doing to me this whole game is just going through a checklist of all of Jack's gimmicks and just applying them to me. Literally, that's all this guy is doing. Straight gimmicks, no really solid gameplay. And there are only a few characters that I would put into that category of people play them just because they give you free wins. Even if you're bad at the game, you can get free wins just because they're a giant knowledge check. And that's the Bears and Jack. Now, there's a way to beat this, right? Which I will show you in this next match. But yeah, Tekken's low tiers are very interesting to me, and I don't want to say Jack is low tier, but he's not the best character in the game, and he's very, very unpopular. He's not popular at all. But again, this is before the new patch. I haven't even played the new patch yet, but I have seen what Jack can do. So maybe he's a popular character, and maybe he's the best character in the game. I don't know, but this was before all that, right? So Jack is a very unpopular character in the game, again, before the patch. Same with the bears. And the bears are considered the worst characters in the game. But funny enough, the way Tekken works is so interesting, because if a character is horrible in another game, then that character is just bad, right? For the most part, that character is bad. You will require a lot of effort to make that character work. If a character is low tier in another game, you have to really fight for your life to make that character viable. In Tekken, this is the only fighting game where this is like this, by the way. I genuinely can't think of any other fighting game, maybe besides Virtual Fighter, but I don't play that game, so I can't really tell you, where if a character is straight garbanzo, that character might be really good. You might win a lot of games with that character, simply because nobody plays them. And that is just something I have only seen in Tekken and no other fighting game. In other fighting games, you have to use your skill to cover up for how bad a character is. In Tekken, you don't have to do that. You only have to do that when the other player is experienced at fighting your character. So, if you're a bear player, you can get a pretty high rank with bears if you're not even that good at the game, simply by abusing their gimmicks. The problem is that when it comes time for it, when you get figured out, you're gonna get slammed, because you're not gonna have the skill to cover for Panda's weaknesses. You're not gonna have that experience, you're not gonna have that skill, because you've been abusing their gimmicks the whole time instead of getting better at the game. And I have only ever experienced this in Tekken, because no offense to this guy, but look at what happened. I started reading this guy's gimmicks. I started stopping him from playing the game. I started blocking everything he was doing. I started standing on his crouching grabs. I started crouching his normal grabs. His gimmicks stopped working completely. I figured out his gimmicks, and look at what he's doing. He's running away out of fear. He has no idea how to react. And this is something that I've only ever seen in Tekken. It's super interesting. Your character's gimmicks can get you a long way in Tekken, but when someone figures you out, the entire game shifts. It's insane. Meanwhile, in other fighting games, you have to use your skill to cover for how bad your character is if you're playing a low tier. But like I said, in this game, playing a unpopular low tier in Tekken 8 is actually an advantage. You're probably going to beat people just with your gimmicks alone, until you fight someone who knows those gimmicks or can react to those gimmicks, like I'm doing right here. And now that I'm reacting to this guy's gimmicks, it's over. I mean, you saw how he's playing. He's literally backing up 90% of the match because he doesn't know what to do. And no offense to this guy, but this is really where the frauds of Tekken get, exposed. And I'm not saying this guy's a fraud because he's purple rank, right? He's not even like a god of destruction or something, right? But I'm just using this as an example because this happens a lot. A lot of Panda players that have beaten me, and this is not the salt talking, this is just facts, and most people can probably attest to this. If you lose to a Panda player and you're pretty decent at Tekken, there's a 90% chance that that Panda player was 10 times worse than you. Or Kuma, or whatever bear you're fighting. There's a 90% chance that he was 10 times worse than you. It's just that those characters are so gimmicky and so unpopular that you just didn't know what to do. And that's just really what it comes down to in Tekken. But, again, once you get those gimmicks, once you stop those gimmicks, then the player shows themselves, not the character. And again, it can be very frustrating to lose to gimmicks in Tekken, especially if you're high rank and you're losing to gimmicks. Because it's just like, yo, when will this stuff end? But it is one of the most interesting things I've ever seen in a game, ever. Because it's just, I don't know, it's just, like, I mean, it's like what you're seeing right here. This guy, I literally beat every single one of his gimmicks. I adapted to all of his gimmicks just in this set alone. And he's clueless. He's just, like, he's genuinely clueless. So, it's just, and again, it's not just me calling out this guy. This is everyone that plays an unpopular character. You might think that you're winning because you're really good with the character, or you're, you know, or maybe the character isn't as bad as people say. Chances are that's not why you're winning. If you don't really know how to play Tekken, if you're kind of new to Tekken, chances are that's not why you're winning. You're probably winning because even if you don't know it, you're using gimmicks that no one knows how to beat. And I can confirm this because I played Leroy recently. And I was steamrolling so many people with Leroy. And I'm like, hey, maybe Leroy isn't that bad. But you know what I did? I used my Leroy in a custom match against someone who is, you know, a competitive player, and they've been playing Tekken for a long time. And he knew how to fight Leroy because of Tekken 7. And when I used my Leroy against him, GG. Like, he knew exactly where to duck on Leroy. He knew everything about Leroy. And then Leroy's low tierness really showed. It really showed. And at that point, it was up to me as the player to cover for his weaknesses, and I simply couldn't. Because, you know, I've only been using Leroy for, at that point, like, a day or two. So, yeah. And then I switched to Jin, and then we were pretty even, you know? I mean, I didn't use Victor, but we were pretty even on Jin. It was a pretty close set, so it was a good set, too. But, yeah, it just, like, it just goes to show you that even if a character's bad in Tekken, you can get pretty far because nobody plays them. And your gimmicks alone can carry you. But to be good at Tekken is to know when your gimmicks are carrying you. And if you can win without those gimmicks, because there's going to be a time where you're going to have to. And if you can't, then maybe you're just not that good at Tekken. Or that character in general. So, yeah. And again, this is something that's only with Tekken. I don't think any other fighting game you can actually mistake a character for being good. So, yeah. Anyways, you know, like, sub. I'm gonna have some more Tekken videos on the new patch. But yeah, Jin is almost as high rank as my Victor, so I really don't know who I would consider my main anymore. But then again, I don't really play Victor online, only in tournaments. So yeah, we got some Tekken DLC coming up, Akuma on Street Fighter, Slayer and Guilty Gear. Stay tuned, peace.